everyone, and welcome to our college football edition of Chuggy Bets. I'm Andy. That's Al. That's Matt. That's Danny. Before we get to football, let's chug a beer.
Who's ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks? Welcome to Chuggy Bets.
This is the only beer I could afford last time my team was good.
That's spicy.
I thought that's the beer you get when you lose your bets.
My bets were okay.
They were.
This week.
They were.
It worked. Speaking of which, everybody had a really good week except for me. I didn't have a terrible week. I was 500. But Matt was 2 games over. Danny was 2 games over. And Al, just an incredible week. 6 games over 500. 10-4. Absolutely. Matt bowing down to Al. Deserves it. So, Al, we'll let you kick it off with any thoughts you have from this past week.
Thank you. One, Danny definitely mushed all your bets, Andy. Dick move on Danny's part.
Telling Andy, I'm sorry.
I was due.
But I was into this past weekend and watching both college football and the NFL slate on Mountain Time is a delight. You got 10 a.m. kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff, so you don't have to sit around listening to a bunch of talking heads blow smoke up your ass. You can just turn on the TV right off the bat. There's football on. We're by like 10 o'clock at night or whatever it is. The only downside, there's not that like late night, midnight, 1 a.m. chase when you're like hammered and you're like, let me get something. But that probably leaves money in your pocket at the end of the day. So count me among the fans of the Mountain Time as far as football goes.
How did you even watch the soccer in the morning? What are you doing?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I missed that entirely. Yeah. I saw your text about like the Premier League, and I was like, "What sport is he even talking about right now?" I wasn't even awake yet. Yeah. So yeah, okay, that's a knock.
Danny, what about you?
What did you learn?
Anything you learned?
What did I learn? I learned that leaving games at halftime is just not early enough. I'm gonna have to bump that up to the first quarter because FSU didn't wait long enough to get their 28-point lead on us. It was a rough one.
It was great. I don't know what you're talking about. It was a delight.
Hey, we won the tailgate as usual. Yeah.
And I will say that stadium, I know everyone always says it, that stadium was like 85% Hurricanes fans. Like it was overwhelmingly Miami.
I was shocked we showed up. Yeah, we showed up.
You know who didn't show up? Anyone who could tackle. The amount of missed tackles were befuddling. I don't know what the
dude. Even our great defensive linemen were getting blown off the ball. Your guards were playing great. It was nuts. Just the run blocking was out of this world. I was impressed by the Noles. It was.
I heard
our defensive line is supposed to be good.
Mike Norvell out-penciled Cristobal, right? Like he took Taylor out of the game. He just like literally removed him from the game somehow. Like he erased him. It was weird.
Shout out to Roger. I was sitting next to him, and I was like our second drive. We had like a third and medium about midfield, and I just look at him. I go, $100 says we run up the middle. He's like, no way. Takes the bet. Sure enough, draw play right up the middle. We're sitting there in shotgun. It's the easiest, most predictable shit in the world. Of course, we didn't get it. It's bad coaching, man. It's bad coaching.
I mean, it's bad players too. Like the QBs behind TVD, that was never a competition. Those guys, like literally, I could play better quarterback today.
It wasn't even the quarterback situation that was the most puzzling. It was the fact that they have more talent than Florida State does on paper, right? As far as star ratings and everything, those players and the coach do not. I don't know what it is. They are not hand in hand. They are not doing anything that would make a cohesive football unit. It's a lot like Willie Taggart. It reminds me a lot of that era. So hopefully
it's like you have a robot playing quarterback, but you poured Danny's net on the like motherboard right before you hit kickoff.
It's a super robot then?
Look,
it's like fucking
Tyler
nuts.
Van Dyke was really good at faking handoffs to pretty average running backs and then throwing to the seam. All right, he was really good at it. That's right.
Throwing to Restrepo.
Lashley's whole offense. Well, no, that Restrepo
you're
was
talking about
there.
last year, yeah.
I was talking about last season. Rhett Lashley's whole offense was that, and he was good. But we don't need to talk about just the Canes.
Sorry, you were
guys
talking
learned
about
anything
TBD in the past tense. I thought you were talking about this year because he's done, but or probably. But
Yeah, I hope
All
he's
right.
our quarterback next year.
yeah.
Matt, what about you? What did you learn this week?
I learned that styles make fights, man. Tennessee has been blowing everyone out, been blowing everyone off the ball. If you don't let them have explosive plays over the top, it's harder for them to score, right? They are, everything's predicated on them being able to get 50-yard chunk plays. Georgia not only stopped the run, which is Tennessee's, like Danny said it on here before, that's their bread and butter. They do everything based on the run, even though the passes are so have so much panache. But they stopped the run without having to bring anyone out, anyone extra in the box, and they just sent everyone back. Like, you want 5 yards, you can have 5 yards. You're not getting 50. And boy, they look dominant. And Stetson Bennett looked like the better quarterback, right? Hooker's been great all year.
That's a silly thing to say out loud, but it was true it was true last weekend. But it's a silly thing to say out loud.
I knew that game was probably over the second I watched a Tennessee DB get fucking worked on a double move by a white tight end named Lad McConkey. I'm like, that guy might kill himself. Like, that's so embarrassing.
McConkey's so really good, but it was
a great name too, Lad McConkey. That is, I want to go to an Irish bar with that guy.
Like, you could, like, it's like, hey, everyone take a second and think of like the most funniest made up name you can think of. I don't think any of us could top Lad McConkey. That's what that sounds. It sounds like totally made up on the spot, and it's great.
It does.
Respect.
It's like Gronk's Irish bar.
But I thought it was an interesting game, and it was interesting to watch Tennessee kind of be inept on offense if styles make fights, you know? Sometimes
they still had a shot to backdoor that thing, too, at the end.
They sure did. It got stinky. Andy, what you learned?
I don't know that I learned enough to make anything interesting. So why don't we just go ahead and jump straight into the picks? I was going to talk about Ohio State, Northwestern, and just kind of how nobody knows anything. Because if you had told us before that game was going to be tied at halftime, we would have we were insane. Actually told us before we started recording that one of his buddies wanted to take Northwestern's money line and out of it. And that bet would not have won, but it certainly would have looked closer than most people expected.
I mean, if you guys fade me, then you looked pretty good on that bet. I was pretty confident in my minus 38.5.
I think we learned that if we really want to be good gamblers, we need a friend who's in like the National Weather Service, because there were a couple of games with 40-mile-an-hour winds, and they went exactly how you'd expect games with 40-mile-an-hour winds went. Washington, Oregon State was real shitty. That game was real shitty as far as weather, and they got really weird, really low numbers that were surprising. So if you want to sponsor, we will sponsor meteorologists out there for free. We'll just sit here and talk about you. Just give your boys some picks when there's hard winds or heavy rains in Laramie, Wyoming, or anywhere else across the country.
Action has a pro system that you can follow
in advance.
Action has a pro system you could follow called Windy Unders, and I used to try and follow it, but the weather always changes between like when I'm placing my bets 3 days before the game and then it actually happening, and they're based on forecasts earlier, so like you have to wait until right before the game to check the forecast to place the Windy Under bets. That one I think everybody knew, and that system hits, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, is those systems that they have in the Action Network. That sometimes they're like bullshit, but sometimes they're kind of handy. Good, at least for like double checking.
All right, real quick before we get into our picks, we have some drinks to give out. Al actually has two, one for winning the week and one for winning his Chuggy Bets. Danny and I both won our Chuggy Bets, so we each have a drink to give out as well. So, yeah, Matt went the over, but you were 2 games above 500. So
hey, you got some money in my pocket. It's all right.
And you get to kick us off because you're the one with the very first pick of the week. We've got Tuesday action, 7 p.m. Tuesday night. What do you got for us, Matt?
All right, so we got Eastern Michigan Akron, right? Great Maction game. I don't know if it's actually a great Maction game, but it is a Maction game. So my thought here is we're going to take the under 55. Here's why. Both teams have hit the under 3 straight times. Both teams do not score well in the red zone. That is a good recipe for hitting the under. So just on that logic, we're hitting 55. I think it should probably be in the high 40s, low 50s. So got some value there. Under 55 is the play.
I like it.
Nice.
When you say teams hit under 3 times in a row, I go, oh shit, we should go over. It just seems like wonky, like stupid turnover, sloppy special teams. I don't know, but
I get that. I get it, but they're both not really good at finishing in the red zone, and that makes me feel even better about it, right? And kicking and action, for some reason, it's like 12 degrees with 47-mile-an-hour winds. It's always a mess. So, and look, and I hate taking unders in action because action is about the passion for scoring points in dumb ways. It's the best, but it seems like the right play here.
Love it.
All right, let's keep it rolling on Tuesday night. Also, half an hour later, Ohio is going to play Miami of Ohio. I have a pick here. I have these teams rated as even on a neutral field. So with Miami of Ohio playing at home, I think they should be slight favorites. Instead, they're 2-point dogs. So I'm going to ride with the Redhawks here, getting the points at home. Not a huge value, but I wanted to have a Tuesday night pick, and this is the one I show the most value on. So Miami of Ohio +2 for me. Danny, I think you have a different play on this one.
Yeah. So I don't hate the Miami Ohio play. I just Tuesday night action games. I'm usually love to bet the overs, but this one seemed like a pretty solid play on the under. There might be some weather in this game, and neither of these teams score a lot of points, particularly Miami of Ohio. They've hit the under in their last 5 games, so I'm expect that trend to continue.
I almost took Ohio here. I ended up cutting that one right before we started. Ohio -1. I think Ohio may be good. I mean, like they are maxing good, not like good, but you know.
No, they Buffalo I thought was the best team in the MAC, and they handled them pretty well last week. It was
Yeah, I think you were on that, weren't you?
What's that?
You were on Ohio last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Yeah, I think I definitely took an action game.
I think I followed you.
Yeah.
I think I lost that one going against you guys.
One last pick on Tuesday night. Danny, take us to Toledo.
So I don't know if you guys recall, but Al and I had a really great semantics argument about Tulsa versus Tulane, where I was arguing that Tulsa isn't bad. I got Tulsa and Toledo confused. So it's a lot of T schools in that argument. But Toledo, actually not bad. They're pretty good. Tulsa, pretty bad. Tulane, very good. Toledo, not bad. They're okay. Toledo's pretty good. They're okay. Tulane, very good. Tulsa, not so good. So Toledo, laying the 11.5. Ball State, actually not good. So that's why I made this pick, mostly so I could call that back out.
I love it.
Love it, and I'm not even gonna hate on it because I've been known to do the same thing. You get these small schools, they all start to sound the same after a little while. So totally get it.
It's not even just T; it's the T L. Toledo, Tulane, Tulsa.
Yep. All right, Danny, you want to take us to that first Wednesday night game?
Yeah, so I think Buffalo is going to win this one, and I think since they're getting a 1.5, I'm gonna take that 1.5. If they end up losing by 1, fine, we still win the bet. But I might bet the money line instead. But I already took the 1.5. This line opened with Buffalo as a favorite, and it moved pretty sharply towards Central Michigan. But I think people are just overreacting to that first weeknight action game where Ohio really handled Buffalo. So I think that might be why that line's moving.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Actually, I like Buffalo as well. I'm not sure that I understand the line movement either. I think Buffalo's the better team here, even on the road. I think Buffalo should be the favorite. So if you're giving me a 1.5 with Buffalo, I'm gonna take it. With like Danny, I might take the money line as well. But for the purpose of the pod, I'll lock up +1.5.
Yeah, I think the Chippewas have burned me twice this year. So if I was betting this game, I'd be tailing you guys on Buffalo, but mostly out of spite.
Best way to bet.
Danny,
Yeah, sure. So you're going to find that I'm on a lot of unders this week. I'm a little spiteful at college football because of the way my team played last week. I only got to see 3 points scored, so I'm just thinking that nobody's going to score any points this week. So Kent State, Bowling Green, I know neither of these teams are good at scoring points, so maybe we'll get under 55.5. Also, it's probably not going to be good weather there as well, I think.
It's
What'd you
it's
say?
okay weather. It's going to be
It's
okay
okay.
weather.
It's going to be okay weather? Okay.
I was going to
this was
say, are you
on my-
basing that solely on the fact that it's Ohio?
No, it's basing this solely on the fact that it
state?
was on action super early windy under list.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
that's why I was saying it might not be okay weather. So, but if
think
they
it's-
take like I said, the early ones they take off that list super early. So that's why I was saying it might have some bad weather. I don't know.
So I'm betting this because the weather is good. Bowling Green is better than Kent State. I'm just going to put it out there. The fact that they're getting points makes no sense. Bowling Green can throw the ball through the air. Kent State can't stop the ball through the air. I know we've made the flash in the pan joke 100 times so far, but they are that. I don't know why Bowling Green is getting points, so I'm going to take those points. Give me the 2.5. I think well, let's use Andy's argument. I think they're very similar teams, so I will take the points at home.
They're probably getting points because they only scored 13 against Western Michigan last week.
Fine. I don't care. Do not care.
Another reason I'm on the under, by the way.
Look, an under may be a good play.
Yeah. Western Michigan has a decent offense. They held them to 7.
Then there's a very good chance this line will get to 3 because the -3, well, the -2.5 is at 115 right now, -115. So
yeah,
if it gets a 3, take it for sure.
I might do that with you.
Nice. Moving into Thursday, I've got to play on Tulsa at Memphis. Memphis comes into this one on a 4-game losing streak, but this is a chance to get right. Those losses were Houston, East Carolina.
Sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
Let me cut you off for 1 second. So you and are on the same side here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to let you guys both make your cases, but I warn you do that whoever's case is shittier is chugging a beer.
Okay.
Nice.
Continue.
All right. Thanks. So I think I was saying that Memphis is on a 4-game losing streak, but those were the pretty decent teams: Houston, East Carolina, Tulane, and UCF. So Tulsa represents a big step down in competition. This is going to be their easiest game in more than a month by a lot. So I think Memphis takes advantage of it. I think they'll be able to put up some points, and I don't think they'll have any problem covering this. It's 6.5 right now. I'd be a little bit more hesitant if it got to 7 or definitely 7.5, but at under a touchdown, I'm confident Memphis can score enough to cover this.
So I was going down the list and I knew I wanted to talk about the Toledo Tulsa thing, and this was the other one. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it in the first one or this one. So I picked Memphis. Also, Memphis is good. Memphis is good and Toledo's not. So, or Tulsa's not. I just fucking did it again. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
The judge is not looking favorably on your argument.
Oh.
Cheers.
Oh. I gotta say, the comedy almost made me want to flip it there, but yeah, I think Danny knows what's up. He looks so good doing it too.
He does. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing out. Danny's got no sleeves, so we got the full arm action when he's got the beer all the way back there. It was beautiful, bud.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Biceps looking funny.
I think I have the next pick as well. On Friday night, East Carolina is going to Cincinnati. And after losing Desmond Ridder and some others to the draft, Cincinnati's offense is just not the same as it was the team that last year that made the college football playoff. I don't think they're going to be able to score much here, even against a pretty mediocre East Carolina defense. But Cincinnati's defense is still above average, so I think they'll be able to slow down East Carolina's offense, even though they're kind of decent themselves. I leaned towards taking the points with Cincy. It's 5 or 5.5, depending where you're looking. But ultimately, I decided to take the under. I think both teams will struggle to score here. So I'm going under 53.5 in East Carolina, Cincy.
I think Cincinnati is like 4th in the AAC right now. Like that's quite a fall from college football playoff to Navy, I think, for 5th place. Like that's a bad look.
conference is pretty good right now. Like between Tulane and UCF have been clearly the cream of the crop so far. But East Carolina's floating around. Houston and SMU are putting up 140 points, which is the craziest. I love it.
There's more talent in the AAC, ACC.
You're probably right.
Top to bottom, I think that's legit.
I was thinking about it today. Everybody keeps talking about Luke Fickell, or last year and previous to that, they were talking about Luke Fickell like turning the Cincinnati job into some like high-powered, Power 5 job, and I think he missed that chance. Like maybe he'll turn around next year or something, but this year, like, I don't think anybody's going to look at him for any of those openings based on what they're doing right now. So he might be stuck there for a little bit. All right, we got one more weeknight play. Matt, why don't you kick us off? Fresno State, UNLV, late night Friday. What do you got for us?
Yeah, both teams have been trending more towards the under. The offensive proliferance, I don't know if that's even a word, but like they were both showing a lot of high power positives in offense. That has tapered back a little bit. UNLV has kind of lost their form from my braggadocious ways earlier in the season, and Fresno State's getting more acclimated with Haener getting back in. Is he in? Is he out? And without
Haener's played great the last 2 weeks.
Has he? Okay.
Yeah.
I laid away from Fresno State in general because of it. Either way, I think 15.
He got hurt and then he barely played in the USC game, but I'm still on this under.
Yeah, the play here is
has nothing to do with Fresno
back.
State. Yeah, he's been back, but the reason I'm on this under has everything to do with UNLV and nothing to do with Fresno State. Fresno State might put up 50 points in this game, and we'll still hit the under because UNLV scored like 7-7-13. Like they got 21 points against Notre Dame, but it's been like 7-7 and 13 in their.
No, they've lost their offensive thing. I was bragging about their offense early in the year. It's not. They're UNLV again.
Yeah,
so,
and those low scores are against like nobody teams. It's bad. Like they scored 10 on San Diego State. They scored 7 against Air Force. They scored 7 against San Jose State. Like they have nothing going for them right now. I don't think they're going to score any points.
All right, Matt, you want to take us into our first Saturday game?
Yeah, I'm going to make this Notre Dame Navy. I'm going to take the points with Navy. I know Notre Dame's feeling themselves. They had a big win against Clemson. I chose against Notre Dame last week. I was clearly wrong. They looked really good. I also think Navy is going to keep this game really – they're not good. I want that on the front end. I don't think Navy's very good at all this year. But 17 points is really where I put the spread at. And with them going on the road, I think Notre Dame will take it easy on Navy considering the military ties. I think plus 17 is a good opportunity. You may draw that money back, but I could see this being 28-7, 31-10. 31-14, sorry. I'm giving you wrong numbers. 31-14 is the number I was in my head. I'm giving you – all right, I'm going to drink just for myself because I was shameful. But plus 17, do that.
While Matt's drinking there, I generally like taking points with the service academies because of their slow style of play and the fact that they keep the clock running. It's harder to run up the score on them, right? Like regardless of whether or not you're better than them, they just make it hard to run up the score. So I generally like taking big numbers.
And general respect by the other teams for the service academies.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to say I beat Army by 50.
No, it's you look like a bad American, like right?
Putin
no
might.
one's trying to do that.
Putin. It's not.
That's what
Purdue, Illinois.
Yeah, Matt, why don't you keep it rolling?
I can't believe you're taking an Illinois over. Have they hit an over?
Hey, Andy, is Chase Brown okay?
I think so.
Yeah, let's take the over. Illinois got a decent enough offense.
All right.
And Purdue actually has, if they're not playing Iowa, they have an offense. They're one of the teams in the Big Ten that have an offense. 44.5 seems like the low number. It looks like it would be closer to being.
So Illinois has hit 2 of their last 5 overs. They hit an over 39.5 by 1 point and an over 43.5 by 1 point. So
we're rolling. Purdue in their last 4 games has scored. In their last 5 games, they've scored 3 against Iowa, which is a bummer. 24, 43, 31, and 20. right? So they have the propensity to score points. I know they're going after against a vaunted Illinois defense, but I took nothing positive away from the performance last week I saw from Illinois versus Michigan State. They may bounce back, but 44.5 is a low enough number. I think the opportunity here is on the over. Andy, you got anything to tell about your boys?
Purdue could score a little bit. You might be right here.
I know. They're not bad.
Yeah, Purdue's been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. It depends which Purdue shows up. I think if the high-powered Purdue shows up, this will go over easily, even with Illinois' supposedly really good defense. They gave up way too many points to Michigan State. I would also look. This number is going up on the spread. I think it opened at 6. It's at 6.5 now. If it gets to 7, I'm going to take Purdue. It could be a little bit of a happiness hedge again, but the happiness hedge worked for me last week. I didn't need any of the 16 points I took with Michigan State. But yeah, I'll take Purdue if it hits 7.
Purdue's been on kind of a roller coaster, right? They went 20 against Minnesota, 31 against Maryland, 43 against Nebraska, down to 24 against Wisconsin, and then they played Iowa, and they put up a measly 3.
Iowa's good on defense. Everyone knows that. That's my one fear here, but I also know that Purdue has
Illinois is better on defense.
Be that as it may, Michigan State stinks. They're not a very good team, and they did enough against Illinois to win the game last week.
We didn't look like a good defense last week.
Yeah. I took nothing good from that. And look, I think Illinois will win the game. I think Illinois is the better team. Love the running back. I think they have talent. Is DeVito playing? Is there any issue with him? Or is he good?
I think DeVito's good to go too.
Let's go. Let's go. Over 44.5.
All right. So our leader in the clubhouse from last week, 10-4 week, has not had a pick yet. So Al, finally, we've had you on the bench. We're gonna call you into the game here. What do you got for us? SMU, USF.
Yeah. So SMU is a team that can score a lot of points, and they can score them quick. And they're in South Florida against a bad South Florida team. And 17.5. I don't think that number. No, a different bad South Florida team. 17.5. It's going to get any better than that. There's a potential for bad weather as the weekend approaches. So if you want to keep an eye out on that before you go ahead and make the play, feel free to. But I wouldn't be surprised if the number moved like significantly as we got closer to a kickoff, if the weather is going to stay clear. So
it could be gone by then. So the hurricane is supposed to be hitting us on like, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday.
It's like zigging and zagging, right?
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with this thing, or if it's even going to turn into one. It just sort of popped up on yesterday in the middle of the ocean. It's like, hey, maybe we're going to be a hurricane in 2 days. So we'll see what happens there. And if it sometimes those things will just linger. It could have a little bit of wind in that game on the weekend, or it could just turn and go way up and be in the Midwest, which is that stuff happens sometimes.
So yeah, that's my first play. My lead off single.
I'm on that play too, but for a completely different reason. Basically, if you watched football last weekend, Rhett Lashley was our offensive coordinator last year, and he took all of our points and took them to SMU. So we scored 3 against Florida State, but when he was our offensive coordinator, we used to score 50 against Florida State. So I just figure since he has all of our points at SMU now, they're gonna win by 17.5. That's my logic.
Fair enough.
Oh, Rhett Lashley.
I miss him. We should have made him our coach. He's been a terrible head coach, actually. I don't think they actually have a good record, but they're scoring so many points. I would rather lose scoring 50 than anyway.
Can we have a sidebar here? What do you think the record of this team would be if Lane Kiffin was your coach? Because I think it's better than this University of Miami team.
Much better. Much better. But I think he would have hit the transfer portal harder for receivers and less for whatever. He would have taken the job sooner. We got Cristobal super late. So we didn't do any recruiting. Like Mario was like pretending to recruit, but he wasn't really trying that hard. And we had a terrible recruiting class this year, and we didn't do anything in the transfer portal. It was kind of a tough situation. So if we got Lane when Lane was available, then then it would have been much better. But Lane was going to take a job early. That was his thing.
Lane has a more malleable style too. He can adapt better. Mario likes his guys, his style.
There's a very real chance that Josh Gaddis is going to go from winning Offensive Coordinator of the Year to being fired
in a year. I know.
Yeah, that's like a very real possibility.
He deserves it.
It's an ass offense. He's big trash. Get him the fuck out of here.
Sorry
for bringing.
Is he offense or defense? Is Josh Gaddis offense or defense?
Offensive coordinator.
I thought he was defense, but it's an ass defense too.
Michigan's offensive coordinator last year when they made the playoffs, I think. To now, just I don't even know what we're doing on offense.
Apparently, he wasn't calling plays in Michigan. There was a rumor out there on the Miami message boards that he wasn't calling plays in Michigan. So now they come here as an offensive coordinator, and like now he has to call plays, and it's not something he has experience doing. So you get offensive assistant of the year as offensive coordinator. Everybody thinks that you're calling plays, and that might not have been his actual expertise or talent.
Well,
so
Miami's known for
hired Kyler Murray as our OC.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about Miami a little bit later when we actually get to their game.
Sorry.
So that's okay.
That was Matt's fault. He asked about
Lane Kiffin. My fault. It was my fault. I just thought it was an interesting. You gave me the on ramp. That's all.
It was a good hypothetical. I liked it. But Al, after being on the bench for the first 20 picks or so, looks like you got 2 in a row. So what do you got for us in Oklahoma, West Virginia?
Yeah. So Oklahoma probably has a position coach that coached at Miami a while back. So let me tell you about Miami's defense and how bad it is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm laying 7.5 with Oklahoma. This is fading West Virginia solely. It seems like Oklahoma's played better the last couple of weeks. West Virginia, I hate them so much. They're so bad. Let me give you this little caveat here. I'm not particularly good when my bets are fading a team. But I'm fading West Virginia on this one.
I'll tell you why you can like Oklahoma on this one. Oklahoma's defense has been playing much better, and one of the reasons I think that they've been playing better is because supposedly, I don't know anything about this, I don't have any inside information, but Venables' defense is supposedly very complex, and it may have taken all of these players a little more than half a season to start to buy in and learn all of these different schemes he has and all of these different places that they have to be running to when certain things happen on the offense.
Hard to play fast when you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Hard to play fast when you're thinking. And now they might have gotten to a point where they can just react instead of think. So
yeah,
because they're definitely playing better. They're definitely playing better.
Yeah,
they're getting better. So I'm on this next game. So LSU's playing Arkansas, and I don't want to buy into LSU, and I don't know why I never want to buy into LSU, but it's just kind of one of my things. And also, there's been a lot of parity in the SEC this year, and this feels like the spot where LSU gets parodyified. So I'm gonna take Arkansas to parodify LSU.
We got a fucking vocab lesson on this bitch. This is a
lot of big words that are fake.
So listen, if you just moved to an English-speaking country and you need to work on your vocabulary, ChuggieBets is the place. Okay, we
can teach you all the fake words. Al, you're on the other side of this, I think, right?
Yeah, third game in a row. I'm laying points. LSU -3. I think Arkansas is just not very good. I don't know, Andy. Can you tell me where LSU's run defense ranks, like ballpark, or if you actually have it? I would love to know because I'm pretty sure that's all Arkansas can do is run the ball.
I think you're right about that. I think you're right about that.
LSU's it seems like their offense is rolling. I know, Danny, you like Arkansas because it's a letdown spot for LSU, but I don't know if Arkansas is the team to do it. So
it's the team that's after. It's the team that's after, so that's the team that has to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So Al, what ranking were you looking for?
LSU run defense.
Oh, run defense. I did. Offense. Sorry, give me a second. I gotta go back.
It's all good. It's I mean, regardless, I think when you've got a super mobile quarterback, it's tough for any defense to contain that. If you're also an Arkansas team that's one-dimensional, it's a lot easier to bottle up those points, and so it seems to me like LSU should be a bigger favorite, but maybe it is a closer line because it's a letdown spot. But LSU controls their destiny, don't they? They're tops in that division, so if they
LSU
win
can
out,
get to
they're
the championship, and I think that they only have. Do they have 2 losses, 1 loss?
I think they have 2 losses.
2 losses. So if but a 2-loss SEC
But they're
team
ranked
could
10th,
get in.
and a win over Georgia is going to jump them into the top 4 if that happens.
Yeah, if they control their way into the playoff, I believe.
Which is crazy because we had totally written them off after like
losing
week
FSU
2
or beating
Not
FSU.
me. Not me. I didn't write them off. They're the best team in the country. One of the best.
So's Miami, right? So's Miami.
Excellent team. Georgia Tech, watch out for them. Dangerous team.
All right,
you
Danny.
got weak when Sam Hartman was doing good, right?
Oh
Hey,
my God.
does anyone think? I know nobody's got to play in this one, but Missouri, Tennessee. Does anyone think Tennessee comes out flat against Missouri, or you guys think they're gonna?
Oh no, I have
Whoop 'em.
Tennessee rolling Missouri. I just didn't bet it because I bet like every single game this week, and I just didn't want to have another play. I think it's another play laying a lot of points too, and
yeah, the number of 21's a lot, but them going into Rocky Top, I think you're going to see an angry Tennessee, but they may try to perfect some things. I don't know what to do with it.
My number's like Missouri plus 21, but I didn't have the balls to play it.
I just don't think Missouri's any good, and I think Tennessee is really good. So I think Tennessee's going to roll them. But I didn't bet the 21 because I hate to say it, Andy, but it's too many points. But it was too many points for me to not bet it. Not too many points for me to bet. It wasn't enough points for me to bet it. So, but I'm on too many points. 49 is too many points for Vanderbilt and Kentucky to score together in a game because neither of those teams can score points. I believe Vanderbilt put up a 0 against Georgia and a 14 against Missouri. Like they are not an offense that can put up any points against teams that like have any sort of defense. And Kentucky has kind of a defense. They held Missouri to 17. And Kentucky put up like 6 against Tennessee, whose defense is not really all that great. So I just think that these teams, I'm gonna like cherry pick the ones that pick my pick here. They only Kentucky only put up 14 against South Carolina and 19 against Mississippi. They're just
Matt,
these offenses aren't amazing.
Matt, remind us again why we call him Will Levi's.
Oh, because he's washed and distressed. That's him.
Distressed.
No, I like this bet, Danny. Under 49 seems like a low number in the SEC, but I think I may join you on this. I don't know. Kentucky doesn't score that many points. Vanderbilt does not have a very good defense, but maybe.
I don't see both teams getting into the 20s, and I don't see either team getting into the 30s. So that's
even if it's 31-10, it's like okay, it's fine, sure. Like Kentucky's got a good defense. Mark Stoops can put together a defense. That's what he does best. So,
Danny, thank you for me playing on this next one too. James Madison, Old Dominion. It feels like a game I want to have a play on, but I don't have a read. So, what do you got there?
So I wanted to lay the points with James Madison, but I've done that too many times this year after talking so much shit about presidents early in the season. And I just wanted to go with the trend of unders against teams that can't score, and Old Dominion is one of those teams that I think can't score, or at least I don't think they will against James Madison. So the team total under would probably be a better play for me on this one against Old Dominion, but we don't have those this early in the week, so I just went with the game under.
I like that.
I kind of have a thought about maybe Old Dominion money line. Is that dumb?
No, fading me is never dumb.
Like I think it's +5 right now, which is a very good price for a team that's at home. At home, and like I don't think James Madison is particularly better than Old Dominion.
Old Dominion put up a 0 against Marshall this week.
Like, what conference are they? Sunbelt?
Not great.
Old Dominion is trash. Never mind.
They put up a 17 against Georgia State, so that's some points.
Yeah.
If you want the plus side of it, they did put up 49 against Coastal Carolina early in the year when people thought they were good, and they did win a Power 5 game early in the year against a team that people thought were good. I don't remember who it was, but it wasn't a good team.
Oh, they beat Vatech and Virginia, or almost Virginia. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm still thinking it's September Old Dominion and not November.
People still thought the Virginia teams were good, and then they saw that one of them only put up 12 points against Miami.
What's the overtime?
Oh,
my numbers said to take Old
6-12.
Dominion plus the 7.5. But I think it's skewed by those early results, and I don't think it's reflecting that they're not very good.
Yeah.
So I'm staying away. But my spreadsheet supports you if you want to take the money line out.
Okay.
All right. There's a standalone 2:00 game, and I have a play there. It is Rice at Western Kentucky. I think Rice is bad. Just straight up bad. They don't have a win this year against a team with a winning record. And I think Western Kentucky is slightly above average, but they're actually really good at boat racing really bad teams. Anytime they played a really bad team, they've blown them out of the water. So I'm taking Western Kentucky, and I'm laying 12. This is a very strange week for me. I'm going to call it favorites week because we're only at 2:00, and this is already like the third favorite that I've taken. I'm laying double-digit points here, and I actually have an even bigger favorite that I'm going to take later in the pod. I'm going to take a couple of dogs before we get there, but I'm going to take a really big favorite in a little bit. So it's a weird week for me.
Is this the most points you've ever laid on this podcast to this point?
I think it probably is. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Could be a tie. It could be a tie. I love this bet, but I am not going to mush you again this week. I'm just going to bet it. I'm just going to bet it.
Andy,
but it's not an official ChuggieBets pick.
Is this the third week in a row you've bet on a Rice game?
I think it might be the 6th week in a row he's bet on a
Rice game. I stayed away last week.
I bet on them last week.
Matt and Rice last week.
I was like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about Rice like 3 weeks in a row here, and I still don't know anything more about them than I did 3 weeks ago.
Matt was on them last week, and they won. I faded them 2 weeks ago, and they lost. So we've got a pretty good read on Rice as a pod.
It seems like.
So yeah.
So tune in next week for our takes on
Rice football.
I don't know.
Did we skip the UMass game?
No. I'll get to it in a second. I was going to bring it up. So at 3:00, Temple plays Houston. Temple is an absolute garbage can of a football team. Houston is showing signs of life with Dana Holgerson at the helm again. They had some trouble really early. Unless Kurt Warner is going to replace EJ Warner, I don't believe in this Temple side. Lay the 20 in Houston.
I mean, Houston was part of that 120-point game last week or whatever it was with SMU. So, they can score. I like them. I like them covering the 20.
Fun question. Who's a douchier former Temple coach, Al Golden or Matt Rule?
Ooh. Al Golden seems fine. Matt Rule.
Al Golden wasn't a douche. He just got his ass kicked by Clemson at home, and we were sad. He wasn't a douchebag. He gave good coach on press conferences.
He wore a tie on the sidelines in 90 fucking degree Miami heat. Like, he's a fucking douche.
Man, he had a thing though. He was just trying to be.
We all wore ties. All the students were wearing ties and stuff. I didn't do it, but all the Kane students were wearing ties. It was like we liked it. It was a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
stick.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't matter unless Kurt Warner is coming out in EJ Warner's uniform. It doesn't matter. Lay the 20 and let's go.
I like it. Lay the 20. That's a great bet.
We've got a very exciting game. Ever since our big game last week and big game Friday on UConn, UMass, which UConn covered the spread. Of course, they covered the spread against UMass. 15.5 wasn't enough. What do we think about? I almost want to force this to be the random game generator. What do we think about Arkansas State, the 2-7 Arkansas State, hosting UMass, the 1-8, and a 17-point spread? Does anyone have any thoughts? I know we don't have to make this an official Chuggy Bet lock, but
am I showing my ass by asking which team is favorite?
No. Arkansas
State's
State's
getting
favored.
17.
Arkansas State's favored, and I want to take the points, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to take any points with UMass. Not these points.
Yeah.
Yeah, my numbers say to take UMass in the 17 points as well, but I did not do it personally. I might before we get to Saturday, but
you guys aren't betting on James Blackman. Shame. All right, let's go to 3:30, where we have a nice little matchup between Charlotte and Middle Tennessee State. We got a couple chuggers on this. Danny, what you got on this?
I still hate Middle Tennessee. I still think people are riding that Miami win because for some reason people still think Miami's good. And 11.5 should be 21.5, even though Charlotte sucks. Middle Tennessee also really sucks. Both these teams are terrible. Why is I don't know? Give me 11.5 points. These teams are both terrible. Give me over 10. Yeah, it should have been like a 2-point line. Go on.
yeah, I'm with you on this, Danny. I think Middle Tennessee is continuing to dine out on their win over Miami. It was a high-profile spot. Everybody saw it and said, "Oh, Middle Tennessee must be good," and then just never went back and revisited it. They're not very good. And while Charlotte has maybe the worst defense in the country, their offense is pretty average. And Middle Tennessee is bad on both offense and defense. So I think 11.5 is too many points. So I'll ride with the 49ers.
All right. Andy, I'm gonna ask you a little homework real quick, and I'll throw it over to this. Oh, this is your game. I didn't know if you could tell me how bad New Mexico's defense is, because I kind of want to take the under in Air Force New Mexico at 37.5.
Yeah, like me once.
It gives me. I get blood to the groin region when I see numbers.
So New Mexico's defense.
Do it.
I think they're awful. I'm assuming they're awful.
They're
Fucking
87th according to my rankings.
So better than their off.
Better than
out of
their
131.
off.
That's not awful. It's not
it's
good,
not.
but it's not.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's probably better than Miami.
For everyone listening out there, I'm considering taking under 37.5 in New Mexico Air Force. Air Force is going to run the option, and they pass like 2 times a game as of recently, and they don't score many points, but they win, and they win by a good margin, and New Mexico stinks. So, let's go to Army Troy. Andy, what's your read on this?
So this one is going to be stinky because Troy's 7-2, but I think it's too many points. 2 of Army's wins though have come in the last 3 weeks, and then their loss in the last 3 weeks was a close loss against a pretty good Air Force team. So I'm kind of hoping that Army has turned a corner, figured something out in the last couple of weeks, and are going to play significantly better than they played at the beginning of the season. I don't like that Troy is 7-2, but I'm hoping that Army can keep this close enough to cover 9.
Yeah, Troy's a lot better. Army's been really bad, but to your point, they may have found something finally, right?
That's the hope.
If Troy had another syllable in their name, I probably would have bet them, but
accidentally though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Andy's got an interesting bet here in the other 3:30 game. We got an ACC showdown. Louisville, Clemson. All of a sudden, pretty hot Louisville team going into Clemson. What you got?
Stupid Louisville.
Yeah, I thought about laying the points with Clemson, thinking that they might be mad about the loss to Notre Dame and want to beat somebody up at home. But I don't think they have the offensive firepower to do that, even if they want to. They can be as pissed as they want. They're not going to be able to take it out on anybody, especially a Louisville team that's got a pretty good defense. I have them ranked top 15 in the country in defense. And I have Clemson ranked in the top 15 as well. So both of these teams, their strength is their defense. So I'll take the under 52.
Yeah,
you may have convinced me. This isn't just a Taylor Indy
Louisville's
situation.
got a top 15 defense? What the fuck?
That's what my numbers say.
It's about time that Clemson thinks about making a permanent quarterback change. DJU
are those numbers stats or like tarot cards?
A little bit of both.
Before I follow. Okay. Hit us with the
really
numbers now. What were you saying?
No, I'm saying Louisville's won 4 straight, and it's time. It's probably time for Clemson to get rid of DJU. I feel bad, right? I don't like to say that about a kid. That offense is extremely limited. Everyone gets enamored with stars, right? 5 stars, number 1, all this stuff. It doesn't always translate, and I feel bad for the dude. I hope He'll probably land in a great spot and be fine, but I don't think he's going to be the answer at Clemson long term. And I'm saying that as they're 8-1 or 7-1, but he's not the standard that they have there. All right. Anyone else have anything? I like that pick a lot, Andy. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like it too. It's Ottawa Le'Gunle should not play quarterback for Clemson anymore. I agree with you, Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hate it. It pains me to say that Dabo's gonna totally be pushing to his team that nobody expects them to be where they are, and everyone's overlooking them, and he's 110% fucking dead ass correct. Like everyone's like Clemson's not winning it this year, but like, fuck, who's gonna beat Clemson? It ain't Miami.
Does Dabo look like he owns a Waffle House franchise?
No,
Dabo looks like he owns slaves.
To be where.
Whoa! All right. So I was thinking when you said Waffle House, he looks like not an IHOP, but the original House of Pancakes. Remember?
Oh, he has an upper class pancake franchise.
Yeah, you remember not the original Pancake House or whatever it was called. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he owns one of those, but definitely a breakfast spot where you go and like you go with your family and you end up leaving with your sticky hands. Your kids have sticky hands.
Yeah, and as he leaves, he meets all the tables and he's like, "Oh, I hope you enjoyed your meal. I'll be praying for you." And then just like walks on. That's how he.
Yeah, definitely mentions he's gonna be praying for you all, but like stares too much at your wife's boobs.
Dabo tips with those fake dollar bill like business cards that say like Jesus is watching you.
But it has his face on it instead of Jesus's.
It just has like a scripture on the back, like see no evil, do no evil. I don't fucking know. I don't read the Bible.
That's a good Bible verse.
I don't think that's
cash rules everything around me. I don't know.
Cream.
That's a good one. All right, let's get in the big plan. Get the big house. You got Nebraska and Michigan.
Yes. So under 49.5 doesn't seem like a lot of points for Nebraska and Michigan, but Michigan's playing at home, so I just feel like Nebraska's putting up a 0. They're due for a 0. Nebraska's due for a 0. They only scored 13 against Minnesota, who's not that good. Illinois held them to a 9. I feel like Nebraska's due for a 0. So I'm going to do the team total under on Nebraska, but for the purposes of this game, under 49.5. Doing another Big Ten under. I think I'm on every Big Ten under this week. Wisconsin, Iowa. Wisconsin played way better than I expected last week. But Iowa unders. Iowa unders, man. I love them. I
commend you for pulling the trigger on this one, Danny.
It's so low.
Under 35. Oh, I love it so much.
I'm probably going to join you because it's just like sport.
What made me when I was looking at the numbers, what made me pull the trigger is Wisconsin played so well against Maryland, who I thought was going to cover that 5.5, no problem, but they held them to 10 points. So both of these defenses are pretty damn good, and that was under 35 points. That total only got to 33, and if that game only got to 33, Wisconsin and Maryland, then this game can go under 35.
I mean, you're going to need 10 safeties. You're going to need 10 safeties and 5 field goals to go over in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You want to go? You want to go with this?
Yeah. So the next game on the board is Miami at Georgia Tech. I don't even want to read my notes because we've already talked about Miami way too much.
Fuck you guys. Chug a beer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I only have one chug to give out. Both
chug as soon as I'm done here.
The other one.
One chug while the other talks, and then vice versa.
No. I'll tell your notes. Well, you guys both chug. All right.
You both.
They're picking Miami because they're bad at making picks on Miami games because Miami.
Andy's numbers say take Miami.
Andy's numbers say take Miami, and Matt thinks
that Miami hasn't. That bad.
Miami hasn't covered a game. Miami hasn't covered a game yet this year, and he's like, they have to cover one eventually. Also, FSU's so awesome. Everybody thinks that FSU isn't that good, but FSU's so awesome. They made Miami look worse than they really are.
Did I say that?
Georgia Tech is not as good as people are saying they are. They're missing their quarterback, Andy. My numbers say Miami's offense should do more than they did against FSU, and that it's a bad week because they got blown out by a good FSU team. bullshit. I hope you guys enjoyed chugging those beers. Let us know if we missed anything, but I think we just nailed it.
The best side of any in this game, well, the best branch is Miami's defensive line. Georgia Tech has a bajillion quarterback issues. I'm betting it solely on the Miami defensive line. Fair?
Leonard, whatever his last name is, got bowled over the entire Florida State game. So your only chance that you have is that, first off, he's awesome. He's probably a first or second round pick in the NFL, right? He's really good. So, but he only weighs 280 pounds. Florida State has a bunch of 370-pound guards pushing him around, all right? And they were allowed to hold a little bit. I'm going to say they were allowed to hold a little bit.
Sure.
He's really fast. He's really quick. He's really fast. He's kind of like an Aaron Donald type player. The one thing that we got going here is Georgia Tech doesn't have anybody like that can block him, right? So he's going to run straight through there and tear up their back even. That's the only thing we got going for us.
You know what would be beautiful? Go ahead, Al. What if Georgia Tech just threw it back just for a single week to the option offense?
Triple option offense. I would love it.
Just to embarrass Miami even further. It'd be great.
We need to call Daryl Sharpton back to play middle linebacker in order to stop it. He was one of our only guys that can actually defend that shit for us.
All right. I do have more notes, but we have talked about Miami way too much, so we're just going to move on to the next game here. It's another 3:31. It's our first top 25 matchup of the day. Number 25, UCF, is going into number 19, Tulane, which is different than Tulsa and Toledo, for anybody wondering. I am taking the points with UCF. I know Tulane has the better record, but I have UCF as the better team. So as long as they're getting points, I'm taking UCF here, and it's as simple as that for me. I know you guys all have plays on this as well. So, Al,
I'll chime in. So I'm also taking UCF. I got 2.5 UCF plus 2.5. I remember weeks ago when Kentucky was ranked 6th, I said, that's too high for a Kentucky team to be ranked. And so on that alone, I faded them. And Tulane's sort of in a similar spot here. Tulane is a good underdog. They are not good when they are ranked and with expectations. That's a perfect letdown spot. So give me a Gus Malzahn coached UCF team that has looked pretty good the last few weeks against the upstart Tulane Green Wave. Yeah.
So I'm on the under in this game. I like UCF better than I like Tulane, even though Tulane's good. The main reason I stayed off of UCF getting the points is because Tulane's really good, and I don't really know what's going to happen in this game. Either team can win. I get that, you can take 2.5 points when either team can win. If I had to make a bet on it, it would be the UCF money line. But I'm on the under because in basically every game in the American Conference this year, when two of the good teams have played each other, they've been lower scoring. They don't get to 50 that often, unless Memphis is one of the quote unquote good teams that is playing. Those are the only ones that have gone over this year. So that's why I'm more inclined to take the under. I mean, UCF, the Memphis game was an easy over, but Cincinnati was under 50. ECU was well under 50. Temple, I mean, they scored 70 on them, but because UCF's awesome and Temple's freaking terrible. SMU was 60, but SMU's not in the American, so that doesn't count. Or SMU is in the American.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I'm going to take
UCF's defense held SMU to 19 points, so that's something.
I'm going to take the contrary side. Both teams are in the upper 50 in most offensive categories, including yards per play, rushing yards, points. Tulane's 60th in points. But they have very cohesive running offenses. It may be a tight game against the clock because they're going to run the ball so much. John Rice Plumlee is expected to be back this week, which means Auburn, because of friggin' Malzahn. UCF is going to even be more predicated to run the ball, but they're effective at it with John Rice Plumlee in there. Maybe a little rainy, maybe a little windy, but even still, I think 52.5 points it's far too low for both these offenses. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be an awesome watch at 3:30.
Should be a good game. I made this mistake when UCF was playing Cincinnati by only looking at the offensive numbers and not looking at the way they played defensively in their big games. And I looked at it a little more this time. That's why I'm on the under.
No, like I said, it's going to be an interesting game. I just think both teams, I could see it being 30-27.
Also, we never know where that hurricane weather ends up.
Yeah, there may be some bleed over. You may be right there, but I think it's going to be in Georgia by then. That's a long.
It says it's going to turn right, but they never know.
That's true.
All right, Danny, why don't you keep us rolling? Looks like you got back-to-back overs after 3 straight unders.
Yeah. So I had to get one Penn. I had to get one Big Ten over in.
Yeah.
And Maryland had a bad showing last week against Wisconsin, and Penn State's defense, while they've been pretty good this year, a little more inconsistent against the better offenses. I know Michigan put up some points on them, so I think that Tualia is going to really score some points this week against Penn State. So I'm going to take that over. And then Alabama, Ole Miss. Alabama's defense, not that great this year. Ole Miss offense, awesome. Over 64.
Al, you're on that one too, right?
Yeah, I got 63.5. That just seems like so there's a couple ways I see this one going. I see Alabama winning a close one. Well, really, I think Alabama's giving up a lot of points, and so they are either getting blown out by Ole Miss, which I think is less likely, or they're winning a shootout, and a shootout means lots of points. 64 points gets me my W. That's what, 9 touchdowns? Let's do it. Alabama secondary, big time trash. So if anybody's going to expose it, it's Lane Kiffin, right? So that's it.
Can't argue there.
Let's get some football going.
All right, that's our second top 25 matchup of the day with number 6 Alabama, number 11 Ole Miss. Al, looks like you got picking the next one as well.
Yeah. Does anyone know the status of Spencer Sanders? Is he supposed to play, or is he going to be out for this one?
I'm guessing the line means I would guess by the way the line set, they don't expect him to play.
That was kind of my thought too. I think Iowa State is a good bring you down to their level and just like scrum out like a ugly football. And I think without Spencer Sanders, I don't know where Oklahoma State's points are going to come from against a pretty stout Iowa State defense. So under 48.5 is my play there. I don't know really which way that one's going to shake out. I think I would lean Iowa State without Spencer Sanders and probably Oklahoma State with him. But the way this looks, it kind of looks like he's not going to play. So under 48.5 feels good.
The last couple games Oklahoma State has played on offense, they have scored 0 points and 16 points. One of those games was against Kansas, who is not known for having a very good defense. I don't think with the line being what it is, I'm assuming Spencer Sanders does not play. And you've got to play Iowa State -1.5, even if it's on the road. It's going to be a tough game. The pokes, everyone's going to be slapping those poke sticks, and it's going to sound like galloping feet of horses, but it doesn't matter. That team is not good enough without Spencer Sanders. If it's Ragnar or whoever the hell else is the other name, I forgot, Wrangle or Gunner, doesn't matter. I would still bet Iowa State.
They're not even that good. They're not even that good with him, to be honest.
But he's a calming force. He can get some extra first downs.
For sure.
He can do those little things that makes the team.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Al, I think under is probably a good play there too. Iowa State's going to score 24 points. It's like, what are at the most, but they're going to suffocate Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I really like that under, Al. I might end up jumping on that just personally.
What could we do? Like an alt line under 40 at plus something.
Yeah, Bovada has those out there.
I could easily see this one being like 13-10 in the fourth quarter. So
yeah, Bovada has those out there at plus money. Usually they're not great bets, but I place them a lot of the time.
For what it's worth, I got Iowa State money line. And it was like -115. I like that better, but it's gone now. So -1.5 still gives me a little juice.
Yeah. All right, what under do you want, Al? I got under 33.5.
Oh, that is dangerous.
Plus 400. Under 40 plus 210. If you get up to the key number of 42, under 42 is plus 163.
Yeah. I might dabble. I might dabble.
Do that 30. Do that 30.
Oh.
Take the plus 600 or whatever it was.
Plus 400. All right, we need to keep moving, guys.
Yep.
All right. So I got Florida playing South Carolina at 4 p.m. That late SEC window, late afternoon SEC window. Florida minus 7.5. Honestly, this line just didn't make any sense to me. I feel like Florida's better than South Carolina. I mean, both teams beat A&M, so A&M sucks. That's both these teams aren't very good,
Yeah.
but I just feel like Florida's better than South Carolina, like by 2 touchdowns. So it just didn't seem to make sense to me that I was 7.5.
It's just a matter of whether or not Florida wants to win the game or not. If they do,
Well, they're in the swamp. They're in the swamp, and they're getting close to that FSU game. They're gonna want to build some momentum.
Florida's playing a little bit better too, which sucks for me as a human being. But Anthony Richardson is trying to show his draft stock. If he is good, they're really, really good. If he isn't good, they're not very good. It's all built on him. Their defense can come and go. Like sometimes they're motivated, sometimes they're not. But I think you're probably right here.
Probably not going to turn this game on. I'll be watching Alabama Ole Miss.
I'm going to be watching UCF Tulane. I almost said Tulsa. Damn it! It really is.
It's hard. It's hard. So really, I hate Florida and Florida fans. I think that they're kind of like the Jets fans of college football. But I really hate Florida. So anytime one of these lines sticks out that makes me want to bet it, and I feel like I have to, I do it. So.
Danny, that 1 bit, 2 bit, 3 bits makes me want to stand up and holler. That's the lamest cheer in college football, which I know we're running late and we got a lot of bets to go over still, but that's got to be the lamest fucking cheer in all sports. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but being in Gator,
honestly, I'm not familiar because Florida is fucking Miami.
Who stands out in the field and goes 1 bit, 2 bits, 3 bits, $1. Florida Gators stand up and holler, and everyone's like, "Wah!" It's like the stupidest.
Old guy's got a name, right? And then he died, and now they have like an honorary Mr. Mr. Two Bits or whatever his name is.
Was it Fireman Ed?
Well, Fireman Ed might be the lamest thing in all sports, but let's keep moving. We save that for the NFL podcast. Matt, you want to take us to that first 7 p.m. game?
Yeah, Wyoming, Colorado State. There's not really a lot of structure here. I've been betting all games Colorado State's been involved in unders, and it was very profitable early. It has been less profitable lately, but maybe it'll hit again. Under 42.
Stick with it. Stick with it. Love it. Me, Georgia, Mississippi State, what you got?
Georgia's better than everybody by 3 touchdowns, so it's less than 3 touchdowns. I'm betting Georgia.
This stinks like a letdown spot. I've done this before. Alabama was in the same spot when they went to Mississippi State and just like boat race Mississippi State. So I'm scared of it, but I would probably – it was at 17 earlier today. I probably would have taken it, but I should have. It's a scary line.
Mississippi State's like a sneaky good – they got a sneaker.
Man,
like 7-2 or something.
We talked about this before. You can't trifle with Mike Leach. He does what he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I get it.
Andy.
Yeah.
Kansas at Texas Tech.
Yep. I have that Kansas's defense will be the worst unit on this field by a long shot. I expect Texas Tech to put up a bunch of points and cover 3.5 pretty easily. So I'm laying the 3.5 with Texas Tech.
I think that's probably the right move. All right, can we talk about this next game for a second? TCU undefeated. I know, Danny. I know. You can laugh all you want. TCU undefeated, 9-0. Texas 6-3. I think somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have 3 losses on the season. How are they a 7-point favorite? I get it. They're playing at Royal Stadium, and it's going to be a home game. It's going to be 7 points is a lot.
2 of their losses are without their quarterback.
I believe a TCU loss is coming. I don't think they're good enough to go undefeated.
So, Danny, are you saying they have an injury-prone quarterback?
Yeah.
I
mean, that's
this line. If you would have asked me what I think this line was going to be, I'd have said TCU -3. I don't know why Texas is favored. It feels god awful. This seems super trappy. Like Texas is gonna blow them out, and it's never gonna be close. But I'm taking TCU +7. I think they can. If they don't win, they're gonna keep it within a score. So feels like a push at the worst.
I'm laying the 7. I don't know what you guys see here in TCU. They don't seem that good to me. I don't know how they're undefeated. They're going to lose eventually. This is their last game that they really have a shot to lose, right? So they got to lose this one. TCU's not going undefeated. That doesn't make any sense.
They've got to lose this one for you to be right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is this Baylor or Iowa?
It's
this Baylor or Iowa State, right? So they either going to lose this one or at Baylor. So I'm gonna fade them both games.
No, and you're probably right. They have a loss coming, most likely. I don't think anyone would have said, "Hey, TCU is undefeated this year." Like,
I think the powers that be are saying, "How do we get TCU out of this thing? Somebody call the refs. Make sure Texas covers this shit."
I don't want to see TCU in the playoff.
You know who loves calling the refs? Texas. You know who has enough money to pay off referees? Texas.
But doesn't Texas A&M? And they have they not been calling enough refs?
Texas A&M doesn't have any money left. They paid Jimbo too much. They're paying Jimbo too much money. They got nothing left.
And now they're saving up so that they can fire him.
The price of oil is down, Matt. The price of oil is down.
Damn this economy. Let's get to North Carolina, Wake Forest.
Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Texas A&M's struggling.
No.
So yeah, Matt said North Carolina, Wake Forest. Let's talk about that. Let me lead this thing off. UNC +3.5. That's the play. All I have heard all season long is how bad North Carolina's defense is. Do you guys know what North Carolina's record is?
What is it, Al?
They're 8-1. Okay, you want to see a bad defense? Look at Miami. That team is 4-5. If we're just talking about random bad defenses, for as bad as North Carolina's defense is, their
score
offense
like 5 touchdowns against North Carolina?
Their offense is fucking good. Wake Forest, I love me some frat dad, but Sam Hartman's got the fucking yips, man. He's been asked 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what's going on. I mean, this line again is one that feels like it should be flipped. Yeah. So these are 2 back-to-back trap lines that I'm totally falling into, but I feel good about them.
I just want to throw out there that they are, you're right about their record, but they only beat us by a field goal. So how good can they really be? 27-24. Just throwing that out there.
We had TBD then, right?
This is going to be the rare home game that feels like an away game for Wake Forest. That crowd is going to be mostly in the sky blue or Carolina blue. Wake Forest has a terrible home field advantage as far as everyone else goes there. It's a great place to go visit. I think North Carolina's been awesome on offense. This is going to be a friggin' fireworks show. Nothing gets Sam Hartman back right than playing one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. But I think North Carolina is more valuable and more powerful in offense, and I would take the 3.5 there.
Oh, this strikes me as a game that's kind of the opposite of the Miami-Virginia game, where we go into overtime, but it's just touchdown, because both of these teams can score. I'm taking the over. I need 11 touchdowns for it to hit because it's 76.5. But we could get 12 or 13 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, this game featured number 1 overall pick Drake May at quarterback for North Carolina. So if you haven't seen him, watch this one.
Oh man, that guy is good.
Yeah, he does. He is. He's real good. So. Let's take it to Coastal. Oh, to Coastal Carolina, where the rain may be coming in, but Danny's got to play on it.
Fading teams that Miami beat.
What does that mean?
So Coastal, like Grayson Allen was looked like he was hobbling around. What?
Grayson McCall.
Grayson McCall. Why do I
Grayson
Allen?
Whopper.
Yeah. Anyway, I always call him Grayson Allen. Damn it. Grayson McCall was hobbling around a little. They were kind of subbing him out on some plays last week, but they still played pretty well. I just don't think Southern Miss is any good, and I think Coastal will run the ball all over them. Even with him in there hobbling around, he was making good throws, and they could still run the ball really well. So I think Coastal will win by 11. I watch a lot of Coastal games. I'm going to watch this Coastal game. I don't know. I like their colors, so I'm going to bet on them, and I'm going to watch.
Yeah. All right.
Fair enough.
Andy, you've been pretty quiet for a while here, bud. Texas A&M at Auburn, you got to play?
Yeah, both of these teams are 3-6 and need to win out for a chance to go bowling. So only one of these teams will be bowling. I have A&M rated slightly higher, so even on the road, I have that as good value, getting 2 points. So I'll ride with the Aggies. I don't particularly like Jimbo Fisher. Don't particularly want them to go bowling. I think it'd be hilarious.
Oh, it's the best.
If both of these teams didn't go bowling, but in this instance, I do think there's value on A&M +2.
A&M opened as favorites, I think, right? I think this line's moved Auburn's way, so
I think
guess
you're right.
Getting a little added value.
Well, the coach is Cadillac Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, did you see during the game he pulled a hammy, running down to like yell? It was really funny.
Oh no, that sucks for an old running back to pull a hammy running on the field.
He was just like running to kind of like I forget exactly what he was doing, but I just saw him and he was like walking back, kind of like holding the back of his side when he was walking back to the coach. I saw it on Twitter. It was hilarious.
Was he doing the old man thing where he's like, "Nah, it's fine," and then he's like, "Fuck," it's like grabbing it the whole time, but pretending he's not hurt.
Exactly. Oh, it was hilarious. He was kind of like, I don't know. He's kind of like Williams. He was an NFL running back. He was like a number 4 pick. He's an amazing athlete, but like watching him be like, I'm Cadillac Williams. I'm an old coach now. It was just great.
Next time you think you can like hit a home run or what was this crazy thing I said to start this podcast off?
You could play quarterback at Miami.
Yeah. It might be important to remember that Cadillac Williams, an actual NFL running back, pulled his hamstring jogging down the sideline.
It's like a total dad move, right? You're like at the park with your kids and you see some kids playing like basketball and you're like, I'm gonna show these kids. And like you might like hit the step back jumper, but then you can't walk for like 3 days.
And you hobble off, but you try to act off, and the next day you're like sneaking ice and sitting in Epsom salt bath.
Yeah, and then you say to yourself, I'm as good an athlete as Cadillac Williams.
I think the thing about being Cadillac Williams is like at one point in his life he had fast twitch muscle fibers that could like make him hit a hole in like less than a second. But like me, if I were trying to do a turnaround jumper, that was always going to take 3 seconds for me to get that turn all the way around. So I don't pull my hammies that often.
You want to see my fast twitch muscle fibers at work? Boom, there it is. I'm taking a sip of my beer.
For the audio, Al just chugged a beer really fast.
All right, let's all clear out of the lane. Speaking of basketball metaphors, and let's let Matt take this next one away.
All right, so I don't know if I'm going to do it not yet or not. I don't normally bet my team. Right. FSU both of you shut the hell up, by the way. The top and the bottom left corner, just give me a second, right? Before you guys want to go in there. FSU had a good game. It was one of those games with high emotions, but the high emotions ended so quickly in that game. I don't think there's necessarily going to be a ton of carryover there. Garrett Schrader in Syracuse has had a ton of injuries piled up. I don't believe they're going to have their starting quarterback. I don't believe they're going to have their all-ACC cornerback either. I am leaning towards playing FSU -7 here. I think I am scared. I would be normally scared of a letdown spot here. But
your team had a bye week.
Shut up. Just shut the hell up.
Dude, your starters only played 2.5 quarters.
I understand.
I actually do feel bad, Matt. We've spent so much time talking about how bad Miami is, and we didn't allow you even a moment to praise FSU for just beating the ever-living dog shit out of a.
And you're still talking. You didn't give me a second.
I know. Go ahead.
I
was apologizing. It was an apology.
Hang on. I think I can mute them. Give me a second. Let me see if I can mute them.
So I talked nicely about how good your guards
were. Shut up. What's up?
I'm just all right, Matt. They're muted.
Oh, this is good. Finally, they're muted. Man, Miami looked terrible. Holy hell. No, I do think the right play here is FSU -7. Andy, I don't know if you have any numbers to look at. It's not going to take into effect injuries necessarily. And Garrett Schrader being hurt is a big damn deal.
Yeah, my numbers like Syracuse +7, but I don't put injuries into my spreadsheets. So yeah, with all those injuries, there's no way I was going to play it.
I hate playing Syracuse on night games. It's always a weird thing. Florida State never plays well there, but that's my lean. All right, we can probably let them back in.
Yeah, they're back.
I'm going to keep talking. If you let me back in.
If you guys want to talk about San Diego State and San Jose State. Wow, what a ball game. Al,
Yeah,
what you got?
I'm laying 2.5 with the Trojans, Spartans. San Diego State.
I don't know.
Although their defense is decent, but San Jose State, this line should not be as close as San Jose State minus 2.5. Take it to the bank.
It's probably so close because most of the gamblers out there are like me and couldn't remember which team was which. That's why I avoided it.
Which one's Tulane and which one's Toledo?
San Jose, San Diego. That sounds like the same school. I one of these teams I used to make
They're
money
both
on. I just don't
Spanish.
remember. I don't remember which one is which.
Yeah.
I know one of them means whale's vagina, right?
They
Yeah.
both do.
Santiago.
They both do.
State of Wales vagina.
All right, Matt, we're on the same plan. The next one, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, UCLA is really good. They've been playing very well lately. Arizona has the worst rushing defense in the country. Number one worst rushing defense in the country. I think you're going to get a lot of Zach Carbonet and a lot of DTR running it down their throat, and they're going to just beat the life out of Arizona in this game. I love the 19. Andy, what you got?
Yeah, I can't believe it. I am with you on this. I'm laying 19.5. I never lay this many points, but I just show way too much value here. I show UCLA as a top 10 offense and Arizona as a bottom 10 defense. So Arizona is going to put up so many points. And I think Arizona will put up some points, but not enough to keep up or cover this number.
Isn't the over like stupid high too? Like 77?
I think it's like
68?
67, 68.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, I thought about taking it. I thought about taking it because I think it was under 70.
I see 77.5.
Oh, 77.
77.5?
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't take it.
Yeah.
UCLA is going to score a lot of points in this game.
Must have been USC.
I like this
That
play.
was the Cal game, Cal Oregon State game that was lower.
Yep.
One of them California teams.
All right.
So
Take us to
midnight change. What do you guys
the
got?
islands.
Yeah, one game left. Danny, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. So this is the most boring way you can chase at the end of the game, at the end of the night, is you bet for no points. But Hawaii's offense is just abysmal. They're not scoring against anybody. They're not scoring against Fresno. I mean, I don't know. 54 seems like a lot for Utah State to be able to score when Hawaii's probably going to put up like 17 max against a bad Utah State defense. So Utah State, what are they going to? They're going to need 37 to cover this to match it. So 50 under 54. That seems like a lot. I don't see Utah State scoring 37. They haven't yet this year. So, yeah, going under.
I'll
54.
probably join you on that. I like that. I like that a lot. And I didn't see that one on there. Probably because it's at 11 o'clock and on the time. I didn't go all the way down to that part of the calendar. And you can't get the game in the States in the contiguous U.S.
Yeah, the thing, they're just bad. They're bad teams. I feel like this game's going to end like 21-17 or something like that.
Yeah, I would actually be very, very happy with that final score because I am on Hawaii taking the 11.5. I think it has taken all season for the market to adjust to just how bad Hawaii is. We should have known after that Vanderbilt game to start off the year. But I think we might have finally, after 9 or 10 weeks, reached the point where we are overcorrecting and getting a little bit of value on Hawaii. To be fair, I agree with Danny. Both of these teams are bad, and Hawaii is clearly worse. But I still think a double-digit spread is too much, and I need a little palate cleanser after laying 20 points with UCLA. So I am going to cleanse my palate at the end of the night and take some points with Hawaii.
I might do the plus 11.5 also at the end of the night because I just want something to actually root for that's not no points. And because I think there's going to be so few points in this game, 11.5 seems like a really easy number to cover.
Rooting for ineptitude at 1:30 in the morning sucks.
It does. It's so boring.
Look, taking the points with Hawaii is a fucking dog shit bet. I'm sorry, guys. You're fucking super wrong. That shit is just don't do it. Do not do it.
Yeah, and that's
Do not
exactly
come.
when everybody reaches that point, that's when there's value on Hawaii.
I agree.
Everybody says I've watched Hawaii all year. They're dog shit. Don't bet on them, no matter what the number is. All of a sudden, the number gets big enough that you can bet on it. That's
I mean,
my betting philosophy in a nutshell.
So
right there.
Utah
if it were
State
21 and a
beat,
half, maybe, but
Utah State beat New Mexico 27-10 last week, and that's sort of the kind of game I feel like this could be. I just don't think that. That's why I didn't take the 11.5 in my bet, and I went for the under 54. That's basically because
I like
New Mexico is really terrible, also, and they're kind of terrible, just like Hawaii's terrible. I don't know.
yeah.
All right,
Wyoming's also really bad. Not to like keep this going. Wyoming's also really bad, and Utah State only scored 14 against them. So like,
Wyoming's 6-3, man. They're not that bad. They're not that bad.
So they're not
They're
that
not
bad.
that bad. They're not that bad.
What is that? Mountain West or Big Sky? Which one is
West,
Wyoming? Mountain West. So they're not that bad for Mountain West, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, let's
I mean, like, granted, we're talking about Mountain West teams, but
there's levels to this, right?
Yeah.
They're a middle of the pack Mountain West team.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with some chuggy bets.
I get a random. You want the random?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What do you got?
It's beautiful.
Wait,
I picked a number.
How did we shake out on the random bet last week?
I think I don't remember.
I lost and all three of you won.
That sounds right.
That
sounds right. Sounds right.
So I picked a random number. It was random number 14. The 14th game we have not played is New Mexico and Air Force. I talked about New Mexico and Air Force.
Fuck yeah.
It feels great. I'm taking an egregiously low under.
I'm going under. As soon as you said it, I was like under. I don't care what the number is. I know it's low. I'm going under. All right, let me.
I will have under 37.5 in Mountain West and Air Force.
Are we gonna cyclone the random bet?
I'm doing it. Under 37.5. I'm on it.
You can lay 22.5 with Air Force or take
Andy's definitely taking this 22.5. I know he's gonna do it. He's
I
gonna
did it
ruin
last
the
week,
Cyclone.
Andy. I took it. I took a New Mexico points, and it was close, but I didn't get it. You can take them.
But when you took the 22 points with New Mexico, was the over under 37?
No, it was like 46, and it was plus 15.5 against someone just much worse than Air Force. So.
That 22 looks.
So you guys are all three taking the under?
I'm going to take the under.
I'm not for sure yet, but I'm either taking the under or laying the points.
I already bet the under, yeah.
All right, because you guys are absolutely correct. You know me very well. I want to take the points, but I've been very bad at random game generators. I'm 1 in 3.
We don't have a cyclone, and there's a hurricane coming. I'm just throwing that out there.
And we were 3-0 on our cyclones last week. We had 3 of them. We won all 3. So it's not officially a cyclone yet because Al hasn't made a pick yet. But I will join you on the under.
Oh, what a terrible play! It's awesome.
So Al, it's up to you.
Oh, what I want to do. I think.
Is there an alt number? Sorry.
Of course, there's an alt number.
No, I mean team total. I wonder what the team total will be.
I think I'm laying 22.5.
Oh, going the big number. That's fine, buddy.
The team total should be around 8.
I probably would take. I'm going to probably take the under on that too.
All right, Al, you're laying the points.
Yeah.
I see 22, by the way. Give him 22.
Okay.
Hey.
All right.
22-0 is going to look good on you, bud. Or 23-0.
24-0.
Right.
We can spread the points all over the place.
We got
as long
room.
as there's 0 on one side.
All right, let's do our chuggy bets. I'm going to do the least Andy thing ever, and I'm going to make UCLA minus 19.5 my chuggy bet.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know.
Hey, Andy, I'm going to make UCLA minus 19 my chuggy bet also. So let's go.
Thelma and Louise ready to drive off the cliff again.
We're back. 10 o'clock pace, baby. Let's get sweaty.
Back, baby. Absolutely. Al, Danny, you know what your chuggy bets are going to be?
Yeah. UCF plus 2.5 for me.
Nice.
Between the Hawaii under and the Georgia 16.5 and there was one other I was looking at, and I wanted to talk through it for a second. But
Okay.
yeah, the SMU minus 17.5. Those are the three I'm looking at. Andy, which one do you like the best of those terrible bets?
Probably the Hawaii under.
All right. I'm going to do the Hawaii under that. I'm going to be chasing with my chuggies.
We'll be up. 3 of us will be late night.
Absolutely. Maybe get a little live pot action going. We'll see.
Oh, I'm in.
I'm in.
All right.
Well,
Thank you everyone for sticking with us for an hour and a half. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Follow us on TikTok for bonus plays. A lot of soccer on our TikTok if you're interested in soccer plays. Football, if you will. Anybody have anything else before we let everybody go?
Thank you.
No.
Good night. Good night,
Good night,
Joey.
Joey.
Peace.
Good night, Joey.